Hi everyone! For today, I'm going to share to you the doctrine embedded in the case of Republic of the Philippines represented by Bureau of Customs versus RNB Surety and Court of Appeal. So, RNB Surety Insurance Company, ayan. So, what happened here? We have here Indelo Manufacturing Corporation, a domestic corporation engaged in the manufacturing of embroidery and apparel articles for export. However, gumagawa ang kanilang mga materyales ay nanggagaling pa sa ibang bansa. So ang nangyari, meron silang mga raw materials na nandoon pa sa customs warehouse, hindi nila mailabas. So in order for them na mailabas nila yun from the customs warehouse, they secured a re-export bonds, 'di ba? And when we talk about bonds, ibig sabihin agreement, no, agreement agreement utang, okay, with CICI Communications Insurance Company and RNB Surety Company and Insurance. So, however, nagkaroon ng problema sa lisensya ni Indelo. So, syempre, dahil nagkaroon siya ng problema, hindi niya nailabas yung mga raw materials niya. So, ibig sabihin, kung hindi niya mailabas yung mga raw materials niya, di wala silang magiging product. So, paano niya mababayaran itong sina CI at saka RNB at pati na rin tong si Customs. So, ang nangyari, the suspension of his license resulted in his failure nga to re-export the imported materials or the finished goods. So, as a consequence, the Commissioner of Customs filed a case against Indelo, CICI, and RNB Surety. So, sa case na to, bakit nadamay si CICI at saka si RNB Surety? Kasi nga, ang sinasabi ng Article 1216 ng New Civil Code, the creditor may proceed against any one of the solidary debtors or some or all of them simultaneously. The demand made against one of them shall not be an obstacle to those which may subsequently be directed against the others, so long as the debt has not been fully collected. So, when we talk about Article 1216, then we are talking about suretyship. Ano ba tong suretyship na to? Contractual relation resulting from an agreement whereby one person, the surety, okay, when we say the surety, siya yung guarantor, okay, engages to be answerable for a debt, default, miscarriage of another known as the principal debtor. So, kung hindi magagampanan ni principal debtor yung kanyang obligasyon doon kay creditor, then si guarantor, the surety, will be the one to answer the debt, the default, or the miscarriage of the principal debtor. So if a person binds himself solidary with the principal debtor, the contract is called suretyship. So yung contract na nangyari between kay CICI, RNB, and Indelo ay suretyship, no? And the guarantor is called the surety. So, under this, Article 1216, meron tayong mga bases. We have natural obligation, nature of obligation rather, extent of liability, and we have the right to reimbursement. And when we talk about nature of obligation, meron tayong tinatawag na passive solidarity and then suretyship. So, under nature of obligation, ang passive solidarity nito, it is primary. Pag suretyship naman, it means it is subsidiary. It takes effect only when the principal debtor fails, no, in his obligation subject to limitation. So, ano ba tong limitation na sinasabi natin? Yung extent of liability naman, passive solidarity, the solidary debtor is liable for his own obligation and that of his co-debtors. And under suretyship, when we talk about extent of liability, the surety or the guarantor is responsible only for the principal debtor. Kaya principal debtor lang ang responsibilidad niya, hindi din kay co-debtor, okay? Right to reimbursement under passive solidarity, the solidary debtor is entitled to be reimbursed of what he has paid minus his own share. Under suretyship, the surety, the guarantor, is entitled to be reimbursed for everything, no, that he had paid. So the yung case natin dito, ang sinasabi kasi ng ating respondent, si RNB, is that hindi dapat sila maging liable doon sa legal interest ni principal debtor. However, ang sabi ng Supreme Court is that dahil ang sinasabi ni RNB, Section 176 daw under Insurance Code, says that the liability of the surety of sureties shall be joint in several with the obliger and shall be limited to the amount of the bond. It is determined strictly by the terms of the contract of suretyship in relation to the principal contract between the obliger and the obligee. Obligee. However, ang sabi dito ni Supreme Court is that dito sa present case kasi R&B surety, the respondent, ang sinasabi ng Supreme Court is that hindi pwedeng i-claim ni respondent, no? Yung section 176 about doon sa legal interest, no, for the because of the incurrence of default and the necessity of judicial collection. So however, sabi ni Supreme Court, the duties and taxes due to petitioner should be limited lamang doon sa amount of 2,588,568 kasi ang sabi nung lower court supposed to be is magbabayad sila ng 4 million mahigit. So when it comes to suretyship, what we should always remember, no, is that against, ang tanong is against whom will the creditor's action be addressed? Okay. So one, any of the solidary debtors. Number two, some of the solidary debtors. And number three, all of the solidary debtors simultaneously. And then, when we talk about action based on solidarity, if a solidary creditor made extrajudicial demands on a solidary debtor and the latter did not pay despite the demands, then the former may direct similar demands to any or all of the other co-debtors. When it comes to judgment as regards creditors, if the solidary creditors lost the case, then the judgment will constitute res judicata between the co-creditors and co-debtors. And when it comes to judgment as regards to debtor, if the solidary debtor happens to be insolvent and the case was filed only against him, then the judgment cannot be executed against the other co-debtors who were not made parties in the complaint. Like in this case, na si R&B Surety Insurance lang yung naging respondent natin. So, ang sabi din Supreme Court dito sa case na ito, they granted partially yung motion ni Bureau of Customs. However, they also modified, no, and limit the liability of R&B and surety and insurance company. So, yes, Article 1216 for the case. Thank you.